Stand by, we're checking. 7037, if you receive any trawler calls in the vicinity of 4th Ave and Olympic City, please notify. Rampart 80, possible between 11 suspects, Alexandria and Beverly. Beverly and Alexandria, either driven on the tape, when advised, being followed by a blue Mitsubishi and on license plate.
2 cops, copy, log on. Are you good? Fuzz?
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
Nope, someone's phone buzzed.
That was mine. Oh, you did it on purpose.
Did you text him, really?
Yes, he did.
Oh my goodness, you texted us both. What'd you say? Okay, oh my gosh, I hate you. I love how he said we're doing it at this time, but I have dinner in an hour. All right, guys, welcome back to episode
I gotta get my sipping out of the way.
13. Are you okay now? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, all right. Welcome back, guys, to episode 13. Just as we told you guys last time, we're going to be talking about security today. I thought we were just going to be talking crap about security the whole time. Turns out, I guess we actually do have some good experiences. So we actually have a lot to go off of today. But first, we're going to start off with kind of a depressing story. Fuzz, what do you have?
Depressing for who, though?
It's not that depressing. It's out of Cherokee County, Georgia. You'll see what I mean. A suspect in Northwest Georgia abandoned a scratched-off lottery ticket worth $100 while running from the sheriff's deputies during a traffic stop. Yeah, you see what I mean? The man was a passenger in a car driving in the city of Canton when the vehicle was pulled over on Interstate 75. As soon as the driver stopped, the suspect jumped out of the car and fled the scene, leaving behind his winning lottery ticket and some methamphetamine. About half an hour later, deputies found the man and took him into custody. The suspect was not completely out of luck, though, because he got his lottery ticket back.
That's abandoned property. I'd impound it for safekeeping.
I think they should have seized the property.
Seized it.
The department.
They could have put it towards a fund of a new drug sniffing dog or something.
That would buy everybody lunch at the station. I'm just saying.
Yeah, especially a small town department.
Oh, yeah.
And the dispatchers, all the cops and the dispatchers.
Everyone's getting it.
That was highly anticlimactic, though, with the $100 thing. I was expecting, like, a good amount of money.
I was too. I read the headline and I clicked on it and I was like, oh.
Totally clickbait right there.
Yep, it's clickbait right in the middle of the podcast now.
Clickbait. Oh, man. All right. Let's get right into it with some story time from this week. Fuzz, we know you're at your desk job. We know that it hasn't been too exciting because you're learning. However, tell us a story from your days working out on the tourist corridor and all the fun stuff you got to deal with security.
So a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Roxas and I were doing our normal bike duties down on the Experience. And I don't remember exactly how this started, so if you do, Roxas, then you can fill everyone in. But
it was a knockout game. Fight around.
Yeah, it was some fight or something, and some like 17-year-old kid took off running down the Experience. Well, Roxas chased him a little bit, but dude's hella fast, so he turns around to help security with other things. And then I show up, and it's like, okay, where'd he go? And he's like, well, he ran that way. So we go over there, and we start attempting to locate him, and there's a casino down at the end of the street. And we walk in there, and we're like, hey, did this kid run in here? And security's like, no, we didn't see him. So anyway, we're walking around, and I'm like, where the crap did this kid go? So I'm like, well, let's go check the bathroom in this casino, because I don't trust security. And we walk in there, and dude is standing on the toilet, trying to hide, trying to call his mommy to come pick him up. And then Roxas is like, get your ass out here. And he comes out, we take him into custody, and that's that.
Oh, it was great. He was on the phone with his mom. It was the best thing ever.
Mom, I'm scared. Come get me. Mom. I think
And then we drag him through the casino, and security's like, "Oh, that guy."
Oh, that guy. Yeah, the one that was underage running through your casino.
Yeah, the one that matches the exact description we gave you.
Huh.
Ran in the doors
Look
right
at
past you. I would have like took my pants off and sat down. Like I would have started using the bathroom and pretended like nothing happened.
Yep. I'm like, oh, I didn't run from any cops. I've been here taking a number 2. That's it.
How did you guys get him to come out?
He came right out.
Yeah, he came out.
You guys, was he the only one in there? You guys just walked in and was like, "Hey, get out here."
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Well,
I,
I'm
didn't
just-
say
I'm
much.
trying
I think there was someone doing a number 1 at the urinal, if I remember correctly. And then we roll in there like, "Get your ass out here," and he just kind of scurried on out.
He kind of shook and ran.
Wait, did he tell you that the guy ran into the stall, or?
No,
'Cause
we
I'm trying
checked.
to
No.
picture.
We were
Yeah,
checking
that's what I'm trying
stalls.
to picture is like you guys were. I get like if the stall's open, obviously you just push it
I-
open to check it.
I think
if
that
it's
was the
not-
only closed and locked stall, and you couldn't see feet. But like in
you-
the crack, you
Oh.
could see him sitting.
Their stalls
standing
were
on the
like
seat.
really bad, so you could see straight through the door. So I was walking
Yeah.
past and looked in each one. All the doors were closed, but I walked past and could see in each one.
Just walked past and just started creeping into the stalls. Oh my
Found him.
gosh, I love it, love it. All right, Roxas, what do you got for us?
So mine's actually kind of recent. We've got security at one of the gift shops that's down in one of the areas I work at. Well, security likes to be overzealous with a lot of stuff. So the situation that comes out, I'm driving down, just down the street, and I get flagged down by security across the street, and they're all pointing over at something going on. So I look over, and sure enough, there's a fight going on in the parking lot over in front of this gift shop. So I turn, point the car at them, hit the alarm, honk, turn my lights on. They all stop and go their separate ways. So I drive around the corner to find out what's going on. Well, the guy comes up to me super agitated. He's like, security just sprayed me with OC spray. I was like, oh, really? He did. I was like, well, what happened? So he explains that him and his girlfriend were in there shopping for souvenirs, and he sat down on one of those little like relaxing chairs that vibrate when you put money in them. Well, security came up and told him he needs to get up out of the chair, and pulls out his OC spray and points it at him. And he's like, bro, you need to chill. And he stands up, and security guard just sprays him with the OC spray, and a fight breaks out. So I was like, all right. I was like, well, hold on right here. Let me go to the other side. So I call everything out, go over there, and I talk with the other guy. Well, security is an older guy. I think he was like 61. And he got his finger bit by this guy. So his hand is bleeding all over the place. So I asked him, I was like, well, what happened? So he gives me his side of the story where he's saying that nothing actually happened beforehand, that the guy charged him and he pulled out his OC spray and sprayed him. So I ran the story back of what the other guy said to him. And he's like, yeah, it might have happened like that. I was like, well, you gotta kind of chill out. You come out balls to the wall against someone like that just for sitting in a chair and then OC spray someone. I was like, I don't know what you expect. I was like, if he wants to press charges, you might be in the wrong in this one. And he's like, all right, I know, I need to calm down. I was like, especially who else are you working with? And he says, it's just him. So here's this 61-year-old security guard trying to fight some 20-year-old, like 6'5", in pretty decent shape dude, all over him just sitting in some massage chair inside of a gift shop. So luckily he didn't want to press charges. No one wanted to press charges. So we got him some medical attention and sent everyone on their way.
When I first started working down there, I always was like, oh, like security has the benefit of the doubt or whatever.
Yeah.
Then once you actually learn, it's like, okay, no, like
Mhm.
security does not get the benefit of the doubt anymore because they're usually the ones that screwed up for the most part, especially the club securities on Fremont
Yeah.
East.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Glad
It's
we
tough.
took care of all those problems early.
Yeah, exactly. My story is going to take us right into the topic of working with security and such. We were doubled up bike units. So our uniforms are a yellow shirt and black pants or shorts with like black shoes. And they do say, like, they have a badge on them. They say police all over them, all that stuff. But it resembles a lot of the other security uniforms, which we're going to get into. And where we were at isn't a common area for. It really wasn't a common area, but we were really close to one of the casinos. And security actually flagged us down, and then he's in a yellow shirt. So when we go out to confront the individual who was doing up to no good and such, security had told us that he pulled a knife out at him, and it was something with a black handle and a silver blade. Basically, is the description that we got. So we go over to talk to this guy, and we see it in his hand, and then he takes off running. So of course, like, me and my partner give chase, right? And we end up cornering him, and we're yelling at him and stuff, and he's basically yelling back at us like, "You guys aren't cops, you're security." And my partner just like pulls out the taser, and he's like, "Taser, taser, taser," tases him. And it ended up being this is the first night we took out the side by side, like the I don't even know what it's called. It's a Honda, whatever, but it's a side by side, 2-seater side by side. First night we took it out, and this guy and he straight up called us out, like, "You guys aren't cops, you're security." And then we're like, "Well, screw this, like, he just wants to fight us then," and just straight out tased him. And it ended up being a, like, something to scrub your feet with, but it was black with a silver opening or blade part. It's like, it was fine and dandy. It's better than anything worse happening. But that kind of takes us right into some of the issues with security. Number one, the uniform. Straight up. Like, we all have stories just like that where we get in fights or foot pursuits because people think we're security. Which is weird because the casino uniforms, especially for their bike officers, they look exactly like ours. Obviously different wording, different badges and such.
Yeah.
But then if you like flip it and you go to like Fremont Street, they look like our patrol ones.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get it. But it's not just that. It's like, sure, if you want to use the yellow shirt and you want to write security on the back of it and stuff like that, that's fine, whatever. But their patches are the exact same shape as ours. They put a star on the front that says security. Like, they did everything except for copying, like straight up copyright, like our badge and stuff like that, just to make their uniform look exactly like ours. And that's like, that's bad for them. That's bad for us. It's not a good tactic on their part.
I don't think it is either. And I don't know, maybe Fuzz has more explanation on this because he worked down in like the tourist corridor and such more than we have.
In that side,
but I don't understand that. Is it because they want to look like us to deter people, so people don't really know the difference?
I don't know.
But then, I don't know. I was just suggesting you're the smart one of the group.
I mean, just because I worked the tourist corridor doesn't mean I was in on their uniform decision making.
I just thought maybe you would have caught wind with it, but it's not even just the casinos either.
No, it's other places too.
I went to a car accident collision this week, and when I arrived, there was an SUV with lights on, and there was a dude in a blue uniform standing next to it with some chick handcuffed on the sidewalk sitting down. And I straight up thought it was the city marshals. And I'm like, why the heck are the city marshals out here in the middle of the county, in the middle of nowhere? And it ended up being a security company. And I was like, holy crap. Like, you guys straight up look like cops.
Yeah.
Which, to me, I don't think is a good thing on their end. Like, if I was them, if I was them, I'd be like, nah, bro, I'm going to wear sweats and a sweater, and I'll wear a vest under it, and I'll wear a CCW if I'm armed. I don't want no part of that looking like that. That's all I need is somebody to roll up and drive by.
Exactly. That's just it. We're targets. I mean, we are walking targets, and that's just it. We have the situation awareness to be on our toes all the time for something like that to happen. Most of these people that are security guards are on their cell phone, like playing games, on the phone, talking with someone. They just think that life's all dandy until a problem comes along, and then they go handle it. They don't realize that if you look like us, you have to have the same awareness as us, because someone's not going to be able to tell the difference.
And especially if you're going to respond to stuff,
Mhm.
like if you're over a certain property and you're actually going to respond to that, because a lot of the times, like I'll give it to them, a lot of the times a random act of violence is going to be towards a soft target, but there's that chance of it not being towards a soft target or them believing you're a soft target because you're vulnerable at that time. But if
Mhm.
you're responding to something, that's almost like cornering the issue, right? Like if you corner, I want to say cow because that's what I deal with, right? Because that's how I grew up. But anything, like you corner a dog, you corner a cat, like whatever you're familiar with, go and corner that, and they're going to start getting aggressive with you. And it's
Yes.
the same thing with bad people. Again, we have a ton of stories of people running from us, fighting us. Weren't you guys there when we had the tourist, like she like danced across the road, and while we were sitting there, and so I went and stopped her to talk to her, and her boyfriend came over and like tried to push us out of the way.
I don't remember that one.
That sounds familiar.
She was in like some like leopard print dress and like started dancing across 4th Street. And I was like, "Are you serious? Like she's gonna sit here and mock us?"
Uh-huh.
So I rode over and like stopped her, and we had our little box set up. And there's 4 of us. I know Dom was there.
Yeah.
This sounds
And
very familiar. I feel like I
We're
was
talking
there.
to her, and he literally walks right past like the 2 officers standing next to him and pushes me to the side, and then I pushed him up against the half fence at Denny's.
Yeah. I
And he's like,
remember
"Oh, I
this.
thought you guys were security. You're just harassing us." Blah blah. We're like, "Get the crap out of here, dude."
Yeah. And that's the other thing. It's the flip side. So it's bad for security, but it's also bad for us, because now you've got everyone riding around wearing the same uniform that no one can tell when the cops have actually showed up. So there were so many times. How many fights did we get in because people didn't believe that we were cops down there on the experience?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Almost every fight was because they didn't believe we were cops.
And we have ways to explain that in our paperwork of
Yeah.
how they should have known. But honestly, like it's a losing game for them because it's probably true for the most part.
Yeah.
Like they honestly just didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it makes them good people if they're gonna fight with security either, but
Yeah, I mean, it's true. They were going to fight somebody.
I do have a little bit of a side note, but to do with the yellow. I was working overtime one night at one of the casinos, and downtown Brown, who's a bike
Yeah.
officer, he called out a fight and a code red, like just down at 4th Street, right? And I think we were at the D maybe. So we run out onto the experience and we run towards 4th Street. And all I'm doing is running and looking for yellow because there's the crowd, like, and I know he's in yellow.
Mhm.
So I see yellow over by the White Castle, like on the ground. I was like, all right, there he is. So I'm running through the crowd. I break through the crowd, and it's one of it's the street performer's Pikachu costume on the ground. I'm like, well, that's not him. And we keep
Carry on.
He ended up being like somewhere over like by a bar or something. We're like, what the heck?
I guess I'm running more.
I was like, man, it's been a minute. Different kind of yellow, I guess.
Uh-huh.
What, as far as security's duties and jobs, how would you guys go into that and explain that?
So I pretty much like copied this over. It's like their powers are defined as an agent of the owner, which pretty much means that they work for whoever owns the business that they're working for. So it's like you've got casino security, who the security specifically just works for that property of the casino. But then we also have other companies that roam around the valley that watch multiple like properties, like whether it be like rental properties or closed businesses that watch them at night kind of thing. But the only thing that they do is they pretty much work for the company and protect the property. And that's pretty much it for their duties.
Yeah, because we actually go out and patrol and such. They're not going to, I mean, I guess if they saw somebody weird just walking on the property,
Mhm.
they could confront them. But that's because they're concerned about their property or the public in that property, like if it's an
Yeah.
apartment complex or
Mhm. Yeah, because they do their interest is only in the property that they're protecting.
Once they're off of property, once the person they're interested in leaves that property, they don't care. They're done with it.
Nope, that's it. Their problem is solved, and whether they go out and cause havoc anywhere else, it's no longer their problem.
And a lot of the times when they call us, they don't even care. Like, they don't want to press charges. They don't want to do a report. They just want us there for presence to say, like, hey, you have to leave. Then the person leaves and like, nope, they left property. We're good.
And that's pretty much, this is kind of like the way that they worded this in the article I was reading. It says, agent of the owner powers gives security guards the power to question without a probable cause, being that they are protecting private property, not public. So, I mean, that's the difference between public and private property. I mean, you still need a reason for most stuff on private property, but they can question anyone. Like, if someone's walking around in their casino, they just want to walk up and stop them and find out what they're doing. That's kind of what security on private property does. It's kind of like us. We have to have probable cause or reasonable suspicion to stop somebody to figure out, like, if a crime is happening. It's kind of a little different for them.
Yeah, so basically the way I think of it is basically it all comes down to, like, constitutional rights. Like the Constitution protects people from government overreach, right? And so the Fourth Amendment, the search and seizure laws, is what applies to us as law enforcement. We have to have those probable cause, reasonable suspicion, or just a consensual stop to be able to talk to somebody. And if we don't, and we do, that's technically an illegal seizure of that individual, because we're stopping them if we take them and put them in handcuffs with no valid legal reason. Security doesn't have to have a reason. Now, obviously, they're going to have a reason to go into the legal side of it, so they just can't. And we kind of talked about this, I don't know if it was over our weekend when we were gaming or when, but we kind of talked about how, I think me and Roxas talked about it more, about how security will call us and be like, hey, we want this guy trespassed, and we're like, what do you do? Like, because now you're going into a legal standpoint of it, not just a, well, he looked at me wrong. Like, okay, this is a private business, yes, but in order for you to press charges on this individual and actually bring fines or something against them, you have to have something to go off of.
Yeah.
Because that's where we get involved.
Yep. Yeah, it's like most of the time you'll see security will grab someone because they looked in their store. Like, what? Like, I want that guy trespassed.
Bro, they weren't even on property.
Yeah. And then it gets to that point where we've had some things, like there's a couple of places down there where the sidewalk and their property is not defined very well. And some of these places think that from their front door all the way out to the street curbside is their property, when they actually have a public sidewalk that runs right through their property, and they want everyone trespassing standing out front. And it's like, nope.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't even completely understand all of it, because I was always under the assumption, like, well, they're a private business. They kind of do what they want. Take it up with them. But I don't have to deal with that crap anymore. Have fun, guys. Good luck.
Yeah.
We don't see a lot of armed security over on the northern side where we mainly work together. But the southern side with the bigger casinos, or on casino grounds, I guess, there are a lot of, like, unarmed versus armed security. I don't know how I feel about either one. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, that's just it.
I don't know how I feel.
I think it's kind of backwards. I have a bunch of friends that before I became an officer worked in casinos, and the only people that were armed were their outside bike security. Like, you would think that if something was going to happen, it was going to happen in the casino floor, and those are the security guards you probably want to have armed. And it was the complete opposite, that the guys walking around with, like, the money and stuff like that are unarmed. Like, that, it seems backwards to me that they would put the guns outside for the guys that just run with the parking lot. But
yeah, I don't know.
It's their decisions. I mean, that's a casino sees something, and I don't know. I don't see it, but
I honestly, like, part of me is just like, give everybody guns, and then part of me is like, I don't really want that person to have a gun.
Exactly. Yep. And that's kind of the point that we're moving into with this. It's like, you can tell there's a different demeanor with some of the security versus like who's someone who's armed or unarmed. Like you can tell, like if you run into a security guard that's got a gun, he might be a little more cocky. But it could also be backwards too, where if you run into a security guard with a gun, hopefully they've got more training and they know what they're doing.
Yes. Well, I've also seen instances where security guards that have like pepper spray guns pull out their pepper spray guns on people jaywalking and stuff. So
Yeah.
we hope they're better trained, but sometimes I'm a little uneasy. But then the other side of me is like, shoot, give them all guns, private property. What the heck? Go for it.
Yeah, go ahead. Do what you want, I guess.
I think one thing that could have been done better from when we worked down there was maybe like integrating training with security. Not meaning like, hey, let's go and take them to the range and shoot with them.
Hmm.
I mean more so of on a training day, we go down to their casino and we talk to them of, hey, how are we going to handle this if this happens? What are you guys going to do? What are we going to do? How are you going to help us by not just doing something, but also staying out of our way, kind of
Mhm.
thing? Or on the other end, like, am I going to go, like, for me personally, like, if I'm going, like, down a hallway to clear rooms or what have you, and I've got another guy with a gun, like, I'm going. However, looking at it from, like, a liability or bigger picture standpoint, is that even allowed? Or do I have to? Because I was told at one point during my FTEP, like, security's not supposed to help us. I'm not supposed to rely on them. I'm not supposed to treat them like a partner. Like, I'm not supposed to say anything to them as far as, like, hey, will you grab that for me? Or, hey, he's going to run, like, grab him or something like that.
Mhm.
But on the other end of it, isn't that kind of their job? And would I be okay to push down a hallway with armed security guard instead of waiting for another unit?
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those things. It's like you can do it, but you're really gonna have to explain yourself, kind of thing.
Fuzz,
Yes.
you are the wise owl, especially when it comes to this type of stuff. What is your
If you-
view on this?
If you tell them to do something and they do it and they screw it up, then it's on you.
It's true.
So, but if shit hits the fan and you're pushing down a hallway, guns out, trying to take care of business, and all you have is security with you, I mean, that's all you have. It is
Yeah,
what it is at that point.
I think speaking for most of us, like, we're going to go down the hallway, especially nowadays. We're probably going to go down the hallway regardless, whether we have somebody with us or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just something that always comes up on my mind.
Because we
Things like
had
that.
it wasn't with you, Roxas, it was with someone else that used to be on our squad. Her and I got into a little tussle down on the experience, and security was with us, and they were like, can we help you? Can we help you? As we're like rolling around on the ground with this guy.
Yeah.
And anyway, they end up, I don't know, several seconds goes by, they end up jumping in, we get the guy in custody, life goes on. Well, at the end of it, they were like, well, we didn't know if we should jump in or not. It's like, I cannot be in a tussle, and if you ask me to jump in and I say yes, and you clobber the guy in the face, like, now it's on me. So I can't tell you when and when not to get involved. Like, if you just jump in and that's your decision, like, that's on you. But I can't tell you to jump in.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, like, working with the actual Fremont security, I like how they make like a bubble around us. They handle a lot of the crowd control and such.
Yeah.
I like
Well,
that
they
part of
used
it.
to.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been down there now, so I don't know now.
Yeah, they used to.
But
Yeah, them back in the day, like, we're not supposed to do this, but they were so good. You could give them a roll of crime scene tape and be like, hey, can you tape this off for me real quick? Because maybe or let's say Roxas and I are the only ones there trying to get control of the scene. It's like, hey, can you throw tape up for me? And they'd run around and they'd do tape, and you're like, did that better than half the cops I know.
Well, yeah, but then again, half of all those people that we used to work with are now cops, which is
Yeah.
which is
True.
the thing. The most of the people that we worked with down there were explorers, so they knew what we do, how we do it, how we speak. So I mean, they were just younger versions of a cop. And now that they're all of age, they've all left and they are cops now. And now
Yeah.
we have normal security down there that I wouldn't throw even a roll of tape at.
Yeah.
And a lot of them actually listen to this, so shout out to them. Congrats for making it.
Heck
I
yeah.
don't know if I'm about to graduate here soon. All right, let's see. I don't know. That was just my. I just think that we have a lot of interaction. I think we have more interaction with the Fremont Street security, but I don't think I ever saw any interaction with inside the hotel security
Yeah.
and what we would do if something were to happen. Because even like the story we told with Cammy about the El Cortez shooting or about the biker gangs and such, like that was we didn't have any contact with security and we ended up being stuck in the elevator for it.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
We had no access.
So that's basically something that comes down to if we would have trained that or spent time at least meeting with them and talking about it,
Mm-hmm.
that could have been fixed or avoided, or we could work on that. But
Well, I mean, it's
That could
one of
be-
those things you kind of have to do your own initiative. It's like me. I have a key card to the FSC parking garage because how often did we go in there? It's like we went in there for a call like all the time, and then
I just
when we left, like you have to wait in that line of people, and then they have to walk over, they have to key you out. It's like if we're trying to roll code out of that building to go to something important, we are locked into that building. So I addressed it and I was like, hey, can you make it easier for us to get in and out of here? And they did. And I mean, it's one of those things that someone has to talk to security at most of these properties and find a game plan for something like that to go down, because that's pretty much what it was. That was a hiccup that we were not prepared for.
Fuzz, are there plans in place? Like now that you work kind of with that group, are there actual plans in place, or is it just kind of
Because I'm still learning kind of what I can and can't say about there are things in place. I'll say that much, but I'm not going to go into what is
Okay.
in place
Yeah.
yeah?
because I don't
that's
know what I can and can't say. But there are
I don't
certain
want to give away anything. It's just nice to know because I don't think like does Patrol know about it? Because
Doubt it.
that's what
no, that's the
those are
thing.
going to be the ones that.
But then again, if we
respond.
told
That's
most
kind of
people on patrol, would they pay attention?
true, or they'd be like, "Oh, I don't go down there." That's exactly what happened. With it. Oh, I don't go down there. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So somebody starts doing something stupid, and people start getting hurt, but you're not going to go down there. All right, dude, get out of here. Go ahead, Fuzz. I know you're going to say something. I just got on the rant. I'm sorry.
No, Roxas and I did at one point ask FSC security, like, what's your plan if this happens? What's your plan if that happens?
Oh,
And they
yeah.
did tell us, and we were like, oh shit, I didn't know. I didn't know
Didn't
that
know
was a
that
thing.
was set up. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, but I think they like have always told us that. I don't think I've ever asked, so partly on me, but I also don't think I was ever told as far as like in hotels. That's what I was kind of
hmm.
hitting on, I guess. I don't know. But now that you're in that position, you can work on that. See? Look at that.
Yeah.
Doing good things.
Good for you. Good for
Yeah.
you.
It also comes down to a lot of the not just the personalities of the security guards, but their attitudes as well.
Yeah. That's always like the final point with it. It's like, you can be well trained, you can be, super security, but if you got a bad attitude, you got a bad attitude. That can ruin it for everybody.
And just having the attitude of like a lot of them have the attitude of I'm a cop, I can do what I want,
Yeah.
which most cops don't even have that attitude. And then you got security coming in here. This is my property.
Yep. And all it's
I
going to do is
hope
get them in
it's-
trouble.
Or like your story, it's just going to get them hurt.
Yes. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, because I mean, how many interactions have we had with security while we've been down there? Like hundreds. Hundreds.
Yeah.
and it's like it's all different people. We always run into different people because I mean, unless we're going to the same property over and over again, and you get used to the same people that are working there, it's a high turnover rate. You get someone in there that gets a bad attitude, they get fired, and they get the next guy that comes in and takes over his spots. It's like every time you go on a call for a property, you can see different people.
I don't know many. I can't think of many that I just don't like, especially not down there where we were working. I'm trying to think. There's a couple that I can think of that I'm like, bro, you probably should like roll it back a little bit. I like you as a person, but you need to roll it back.
Yeah,
there's
I
been a
can't
few people
say-
like that.
I can't say that there are a lot of security guards down on Fremont that I don't not like working for. You know,
Yeah. There's
Everyone on
some that,
Fremont's
they would
pretty good.
do a couple things, but all it takes is one talking with them, like, hey man, you did this, everything else was fine. It's like, but if you continue to do this, I don't know if it's in your policy or whatever you guys are choosing to do, but that can get you in trouble. And a lot of times that's all it is, just let them know, hey, that can get you, sued or get you fired, get you written up, whatever. Like, just if you need to reel it back a little bit. I mean, and then most of the time you run into them again and they don't do it again because most of the security down there are pretty good people and they listen to you.
yeah.
It's not like they just blow you off and continue doing bad things, because if that becomes the issue, then it might be one of those things that we need to bring up to their supervisor. Like, hey, you got this guy that's run down there that's going to get you and your property sued. Or us sued.
Yeah.
Us fired.
They're after us
Yeah.
first.
It's like, that's the thing. It's like you guys are doing these things that are causing us to show up on scene. And then now that we're involved, we have to go through these steps to take care of it. And then you get mad at us because we have to do something about it.
Have you guys had a chance to work down there with the contract security that they bring in on like special events and such?
I have not. I've heard horror stories with the way that they're treating the experience and pushing people off. But
Oh yeah.
that's just me hearing it. I don't spend a whole lot of time down there anymore. So I don't see it, especially at the time that they're doing it. So I've heard
Well,
some things, but I haven't seen it personally.
I think they only come in on like the weekends or like First Fridays or like special events. So I don't think you'd have very much interaction with them at all.
Yeah.
And then obviously Fuzz isn't really going to.
hmm
I've only interacted with them on nights that I've been down there for like VCI, the violent crime,
Yeah.
or overtime. And I don't know how I feel really about it because, and I'm not going to go into the side of like the like permits and all of that stuff. But like I've been down there a couple of times where somebody's called out a fight and whatnot, and there's one guy down there that is just freaking awesome, dude. But at the same time, it's like, oh, I don't know if he should be doing that because the moment anything happens, like somebody argues, somebody starts yelling, he whips out a baton and he's like, move back, I need everybody back 6 feet, like all this stuff, like pushing people, yelling, and I'm like, bro, like get it done. But at the same time, I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
No resistance.
So I don't know, like, and he's a big dude too. He's like, I don't even know, like 6'6", 250, 300, something like that. He's a big
Yeah.
boy. Like, he's over here and he whips out this baton, man. I'm like, oh my goodness,
Here we go.
it's
Here we
about to
go.
go down.
Yep. I'll start filling out the use of force now.
Well, he doesn't start swinging or anything. He just uses it as like to get people to move back. But
Yeah.
very interesting.
I mean, it's
He's
true though.
honestly,
Fuzz
Yeah,
knows that.
it
How many times
works.
did I ever just pull mine out? Where it's just we're standing in the middle of a crowd and you just whip it out into the air and then you hold it and that's it. And you see a crowd disappears pretty quick when they think that someone's going to get like some kind of use of force against them. Like it happens.
Yeah.
It's like that, and it kind of plays into the part also, like with our spark display. Like I don't understand why that's a use of force, because I think if it wasn't a use of force, I think people would use it more often. But I'm sure there's a good reason behind the policy. I'm sure that there's a good reason. But just
I don't think.
I think it would
Maybe
be
with the
helpful.
new ones.
Yeah. I mean, that's just it. It's like it's a different button, just and then you scare everybody.
Yeah, the new
How
ones I
does
can
it go
see a
again?
bit more, but great sound effects.
You like
Got
that?
them.
Got him.
With the old ones, there's no way because you've got to take out the cartridge
Oh
and then
yeah,
pull the trigger. Like, there's no way.
I think
Put the
that's
cartridge back
probably
in if you
what
want
it
to
was
use it.
for. I think it was probably for the old cartridges because it was a safety thing, this and that. But I mean, the new ones are changed, and they just haven't changed anything yet. But yeah, you pull out your taser and show someone that it's going off, and they see those little arcs on there. I ain't gonna get in a fight with nobody.
Even just hearing it, man.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
hearing it's bad enough. But I think the blue teams, like the use of force reports, are more for just tracking. Honestly,
Oh, it's true.
for those things,
Yeah,
like for that and for the rifle, like they just track it.
yeah.
That's all it is. Why I don't know, but it's just tracking it, keep track of it, see if it's working or not.
Mhm.
And I think with the new ones, I think a Sparks to play would be awesome to just pull out and do.
Yeah.
But I remember the time that we were down on Fremont and I was riding with Gomez,
Mhm.
and I think I was riding with Gomez anyways. And we got into that fight with the big Hawaiian dude.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Roxas ghost rode his bike into the dude. Like, he threw his bike at him, basically.
That was his brother that was trying to fight me.
Yeah, and then me and Gomez each grab an arm of this big dude. He's like throwing us around, and you're like, "I'm gonna tase him."
I was like, let go.
You're like, "Let go!" And as soon as you said that, he's like, "Okay, I'm done."
Yeah,
I'm done.
that was it. He saw all the little dots on him, and he was like, nope.
Oh, that was great. He's like flinging, and Gomez is a big dude. Like, he's a strong dude. He's short, but he's stocky and he's strong. I mean, I'm like 5'7", 170. We've talked about this. No fat jokes, Fuzz. Okay.
Mm.
Like, I understand if he's throwing me around with one arm, but
All I'm saying is, you sit on your
Fuzz?
motorcycle, and there's some compression that goes on there.
no, there is not.
Just some compression, your poor shocks.
I wish there was compression. My freaking butt would have hurt so much.
or your feet would reach the ground.
Yeah, facts, dude. I haven't dropped in a while now.
That's
I
what
know I'm gonna regret saying that.
he's putting weight on so that he can put the bike closer to the ground.
I wish, man. And the thing is, too, is like, I'm not scared to say, like, I got a nice butt. Like, I got a bubble butt. Like, it's nice, but it doesn't even go over half of the seat, bro. And it irritates me because I have to sit so far forward because I can't touch the freaking pedals of the ground. Anyways, moving on. There's no
What
compression.
were we talking about?
We were talking about Gomez getting thrown around by some big Hawaiian dude, and then Roxas being like, "I'm gonna tase him. I'm gonna tase him." But we're both holding onto his arms, and he's flinging us all over the place. And then he just finally gave up, and we put him in handcuffs, and he bashes his head against the wall. You remember that part?
Yeah, that was bad.
Gosh,
The whole family showed
yeah.
up.
I think the whole family almost went to jail.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like the two brothers, and then like a cousin or something like that.
Oh, his mom was
And then
there. They
the
were all
mom
there.
showed up and started throwing people in a van.
Yeah,
yelling at
she
everybody.
pulled up in this minivan and just started throwing people in there. She's like, "Get in the car before everyone goes to jail." I was like, "Good on you, Mom. Good on you for taking control."
Oh man, and it all started because he was jaywalking across the street. Basically, like, cars had a green light, he didn't,
Yep.
and so they're honking at him, which like happens a lot. Not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like, if you're crossing the street and you're like, "Oh crap," and then a car honks, you start to scurry across, or you stop to let him go. But no, what did he do? He threw his beer cup at the car. Got beer everywhere.
It was in slow motion because I'm watching him. I was like, "Oh, that guy's head failing." I was like, "I wonder if we're gonna stop him." And he gets out in the middle, and this car pulls up on him, honks his horn. He looks at him, flips him off, and just throws this whole cup. And it's just, there is alcohol everywhere. I was like, "Oh, yeah, that guy definitely needs to be talked to."
Yeah, and you and Fuzz just took off. You didn't say anything to us. You guys just took off.
I wasn't with Fuzz. Fuzz wasn't there
Yeah, I
for that
wasn't there
one.
that night.
Oh, you were there for that?
No.
Maybe
No,
I was.
not that
You
one.
were my
Yeah, I
partner.
Okay, well then that's what it was. You just took off.
I did. I just took off because I tapped
I was
Gomez
like,
on the
what?
shoulder. I tapped Gomez on the shoulder because it was Gomez and Dom. And I was like, "Hey, I'm going to go stop this guy." And I don't know where you were at.
Wait, if you were gonna stop him, why didn't Polsky and Gomez grab him?
Well,
Because I think
so
Roxas
the
grabbed
problem
the-
is that I was riding down the sidewalk behind the bus stop right there. You know how the bus stop is?
Yeah.
It takes up majority of the
Yeah.
sidewalk. Well, I roll up to go stop this guy, and there's a crowd of people. Well, I didn't know that this guy was the brother. He's like a big dude. You can tell he's drunk, had a drink in his hand. And he's like, oh, here comes Metro. And he's like, F the police, this and that. Well, he steps in front of me, and I just keep riding my bike and end up like clipping him with the handle. Like I kind of push him off on the side, and then I go to grab the guy, and I grab him. Like he wasn't a no person. The guy I was going after wasn't like a no person. I went up, grabbed him. He knew what he did wrong. I went to go put him up against the wall and put handcuffs on him really quick.
Yeah.
And then the brother shows up. The brother's the one that caused the issue.
Oh.
Yeah, he's the one that showed up. The guy
Yeah.
I ended up stopping, I ended up just giving him a ticket because he was super compliant the whole time.
Oh, okay.
I was like,
Yeah,
he
so
just got mad and threw a beer at a car, and then the car didn't stick by, so there was nothing I could do for it. So I was like, all right, cool. Well, here's your head failed or jaywalking ticket or whatever. And then I sent him on his way. He got to go home free that night. But his brother came in and decided wanted to be crazy, and he took a ride.
Yeah, because he tried to like grab Roxas or grab the brother or
yeah,
something.
he was like pushing me off of him. Like he was trying to grab his brother and yank him away and do all this other stuff. And then once
And so that's why we originally grabbed him.
and then once they got a hold of him, he was fighting hard.
Because I was like third in line, so it was like Roxas, then Gomez, then me, then Dom was somewhere.
Mhm.
And 'cause
Somewhere.
I think Dom ended up helping Roxas take the guy into custody, and then he took the guy, and that's when Roxas was like, I'm going to tase him, I'm going to tase him.
Yeah.
Because Gomez got there and got off his bike and grabbed the dude, and I literally like dove off my bike and then just jumped on the dude's arm and was hanging off the ground because he's this big old dude, and I'm just, it's like that time. I won't tell Fuzz's story, never mind, save that for another day. Anyways, back to security officers. Kind of what you mentioned about like the car driving off. A lot of these times we have good and bad experiences, I guess, with both of this. Sometimes security is like on top of things, their paperwork, their witnesses, their victims.
Yeah.
They're like knowing the law, knowing the elements, knowing what has to be done. And other times they're like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't know
Isn't
that
this
they
an
did wrong.
I've seen like some bad ones too, where it's like, yeah, I'm gone. I'm not doing anything. There's no reason for me to be here.
We had that pucker factor with one of the casinos once. When me and Fuzz went up there and they took somebody into custody, and then we explained that they didn't commit a crime because they removed them from the area, and they were like, "Oh,
Yeah,
okay, we're
because
just going to trespass him then."
yeah,
Because they were ready to. They wanted him to go to jail. And they wanted this done. They wanted this done. And I was like, "You guys messed this whole thing up by doing that. I'm just going to let you know that you messed
yeah,
up."
because the supervisor, or whoever, was the one that gave us the story.
Yeah.
And we were starting paperwork, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And I'm like, I need to talk to the security guard that was
Yes.
on scene.
Yep.
And then that's when we were like, and the supervisor was standing right there, and he's like, oh, it's like, yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, we'll just take a trespass then." All right, we'll do. Yeah, that's it. It goes. It just depends. It's like, sure, like the supervisor knew what was wrong. As soon as we explained it to
Yeah.
him, he's like, "Oh crap, yeah." Like, so some of the people know. It can come down to just one individual in an organization that doesn't know.
Yeah.
That's all I got for security. I mean,
That's
well,
all
I've
I
got,
got.
got a lot of stuff that I can talk crap about.
He's
But for the
like, "I got
most
a lot."
part, for the most part, I like them. I don't. I mean, we joke with them. We joke around with them a lot,
Mhm.
especially the ones that are like, "Oh yeah, I applied, but this, and this." Well, yeah, I was gonna do that, but this, and this. But we don't see a lot of those. Like we said earlier, a lot of the security guards we've worked with or are working with have been explorers, or they've always wanted to be cops. They've been interested in it. They're taking the right steps to do so.
Yeah.
Or they're in the academy now, or a lot of them have even graduated
Yeah.
and they're out on the street.
We got a few that are on their way. We're helping a bunch of people out. You know, they come to us with questions, and I'm more than happy to help you with anything, especially when you're someone who I back. Like, go. Can't wait to see you on this side of the street.
And that's the thing. A lot of them, like, for the most part, with security, we're all on the same side. I've had very few, and I'm trying to remember the one specifically, but I've had very few where security's like, nah, bro, like, get out of here. And we're like, oh, I know what it was. There was a fight that Smith and Mahar got into, and one of the hotel security ran over to help from across the street, and the security of the property they were fighting at stopped them at the sidewalk and like almost got into a fight with them and made them go back to their hotel. And then he got fired after that.
Yeah. Well,
And the radio traffic, Dav, if you're listening, you can make fun of Mahar, because the radio traffic was send more people, he's really big, or like send help, he's really big. Send more units, he's really big.
Mahar used to be hilarious on the radio.
That was the radio traffic, dude. Send more units is really big.
It's stories like that make me miss our old squad.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, dude. Like every time I see that guy too, any of them, it's funny, dude.
It's great.
Good times.
Really good times.
Roxas, you got a PSA about security.
That's
Something that if you had one sitting in front of you right now, what would you tell them? The best advice you could give them.
Take a step back. That's it. Just take a step back. Think about what you're doing. You got a lot of people who they want to be, like I said, overzealous. They want to jump out. They want to be a superhero. And really all you need to do is just look at the situation, see the severity of the crime, and then go from there. Like, that's how we do our job. We have to look at what's in front of us and we have to act. And it's, for the most part, you guys are just like a small branch of the same things that we do, just without the same power. Just take a step back, see what you got, and act appropriately. If a fight's coming, a fight's coming. If you have to use force, you have to use force. But don't be the person who pushes the envelope. Because obviously, like my story at the beginning, when you push the envelope, you get bit. Literally.
And honestly, that doesn't go for security. That goes for cops too.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before. Take a step back. Be the bigger person. Like a lot of people will react to your attitude and people just don't like being disrespected. Like that's it.
That's it.
People don't like disrespect. Nobody likes being disrespected, so don't disrespect people. If you have to go in and handle business, handle business. Like by all means, handle business, protect yourself, protect the public, do what you got to do. But be the bigger person, be respectful, and don't do drugs.
Boom. PSA from last week.
It's like a PSA from like every week.
Yeah, just don't do drugs. Meth is bad, okay?
Don't do drugs. All right, Fuzz, we're all done just in time for you to go to dinner. Do we know what we're talking about next week yet?
No, not yet. We gotta fight about it.
We gotta fight about it. We're gonna put our heads together and we'll make some decisions.
Well, until then, guys, thank you for listening. Thanks for hanging out. This one's a little bit shorter, probably. I'm not feeling the greatest, so I'm going to go back to bed, probably. Fuzz is going to dinner. Roxas, you got to work tonight.
Yeah, going to save the world.
Going to save the world. Until next week, guys, thanks for listening. Stay safe.